Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing, where today we are going to be continuing to read Moby Dick. So, let's get going. It was a shocking bad wound, began the whale surgeon, and, taking my advice, Captain Boomer here stood our old Sammy. Samuel Enderby is the name of my ship, interrupted the one-armed captain, addressing Ahab. Go on, boy. Stood our old Sammy off to the northward, to get out of the blazing hot weather, there on the line. But it was no use. I did all I could. Sat up with him nights, was very severe with him in the matter of diet. Oh, very severe, chimed in the patient himself. Then, suddenly altering his voice, drinking hot rum toddies with me every night till he couldn't see to put on the bandages, and sending me to bed half seas over about 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, ye stars, he sat up with me indeed, and was very severe in my diet. Oh, a great watcher, very dietically severe is Dr. Bunger. Bunger, you dog, laugh out, why don't ye? You know you're a precious jolly rascal. But heave ahead, boy. I'd rather be killed by you than kept alive by any other man. My captain, you must have ere this perceived, respected, sir, said the imperturbable, godly-looking Bunger, slightly bowing to Ahab, is apt to be facetious at times. He spins us many clever things of that sort. But I may as well say, en passant, as the French remark, that I myself, that is to say, Jack Bunger, late of the reverend clergy, I am a strict total abstinence man. I never drink. Water, cried the captain. He never drinks it. It's a sort of fits to him. Fresh water throws him into the hydrophobia. But go on with the arm story. Yes, I may as well, said the surgeon coolly. I was about observing, sir, before Captain Boomer's facetious interruption, that spite of my best and severest endeavours, the wound kept getting worse and worse. The truth was, sir, it was as ugly gaping wound as surgeon ever saw. More than 2 feet and several inches long. I measured it with the lead line. In short, it grew black. I knew what was threatened, and off it came. But I had no hand in shipping that ivory arm there. That thing is against all rule, pointing at it with the marling spike. That is the captain's work, not mine. He ordered the carpenter to make it. He had that club hammer there, put to the end to knock someone's brains out with, I suppose, as he tried mine once. He flies into diabolical passions sometimes. Do you see this dent, sir? Removing his hat and brushing aside his hair, and exposing a bowl-like cavity in his skull, but which bore not the slightest scarry trace, or any token of ever having been a wound. Well, the captain there will tell you how that came here. He knows. No, I don't, said the captain. But his mother did. He was born with it. Oh, you solemn rogue, you Bunger. Was there ever such another Bunger in the watery world? Bunger, when you die, you ought to die in pickle, you dog. You should be preserved to future ages, you rascal. What became of the white whale? Now cried Ahab, who thus far had been impatiently listening to this by-play between the 2 Englishmen. Oh, cried the one-armed captain. Oh, yes. Well, after he sounded, we didn't see him again for some time. In fact, as I before hinted, I didn't then know what whale it was that had served me such a trick, till some time afterwards, when coming back to the line, we heard about Moby Dick, as some call him, and then I knew it was he. Didst thou cross his wake again? Twice, but could not fasten. Didn't want to try to. Ain't one limb enough? What should I do without this other arm? And I'm thinking Moby Dick doesn't bite so much as he swallows. Well then, interrupted Bunger, give him your left arm for bait to get the right. Do you know, gentlemen, very gravely and mathematically bowing to each captain in succession, do you know, gentlemen, that the digestive organs of the whale are so inscrutably constricted by divine providence that it is quite impossible for him to completely digest even a man's arm, and he knows it too. So that what you take for the white whale's malice is only his awkwardness, for he never means to swallow a single limb, he only thinks to terrify by feints. But sometimes is like the old juggling fellow, formerly a patient of mine in Ceylon, that making believe swallow jackknives. Once upon a time let one drop into him in good earnest, and there it stayed for a 12-month or more. When I gave him an emetic, and he heaved it up in small tacks, do you see? No possible way for him to digest that jackknife, and fully incorporate it into his general bodily system. Yes, Captain Boomer, if you are quick enough about it, and have a mind to pawn one arm for the sake of the privilege of giving decent burial to the other, why in that case that arm is yours. Only let the whale have another chance at you shortly, that's all. No thank ye, Bunger, said the English captain. He's welcome to the arm he has, since I can't help it, and didn't know him then, but not to another one. No more white whales for me. I've lowered for him once, and that has satisfied me. There would be great glory in killing him, I know that, and there is a shipload of precious sperm in him. But, hark ye, he's best let alone, don't you think so, Captain? Glancing at the ivory leg. He is, but he will still be hunted, for all that. What is best let alone? That accursed thing is not always what least allures. He's all a magnet. How long since thou saw him last? Which way heading? Bless my soul and curse the foul fiends, cried Bunger, stoopingly walking round Ahab, and like a dog strangely snuffing. This man's blood. Bring the thermometer. It's at the boiling point. His pulse makes these planks beat, sir, taking a lancet from his pocket, and drawing near to Ahab's arm. Avast, roared Ahab, dashing him against the bulwarks. Man the boat. Which way heading? Good God, cried the English captain, to whom the question was put. What's the matter? He was heading east, I think. Is your captain crazy? Whispering Fedallah. But Fedallah, putting a finger on his lip, slid over the bulwarks to take the boat's steering oar, and Ahab, swinging the cutting tackle towards him, commanded the ship's sailors to stand by to lower. In a moment he was standing in the boat's stern, and the Manila men were springing to their oars. In vain the English captain hailed him. With back to the stranger ship, and face set like a flint to his own, Ahab stood upright till alongside of the Pequod. And with that comes the end of the chapter. So we might as well finish moving a couple of the pictures further down. Since we do still have some that are a bit higgledy-piggledy, we may as well tighten this up. There we go. Move these red ones down. So that we can create a little bit more space for future drawings. After all, there are still quite a lot left. Yeah, we might as well move as many of them down as we can while we have the time. Oh wow, we can actually keep placing along there. I'm not going to do that though, because I'll never get it back. There, however, is fine. Can still technically see that one, so we can still get it. And with that, I'm going to go sit back in the armchair, and we're going to call the end of the episode there. So I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, no matter what time of day it is. I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.